Income tracking can be so blah, but I have found a tiny tweak that just makes it more fun. Today I'm going to show you how to use Notion's conditional coloring on an income tracker. It's just a fun little feature for making something that's really boring otherwise a little bit more fun. If we haven't met, my name is Tanya Mushi and I like to do these little tech tutorials. I like to think of tech as for the people. So I like to make these little tutorials just to make it more accessible, make it more manageable and more relevant and helpful in your business. I also find that there's a positive correlation between knowing tech and how much money you make. So this is like my way of contributing a little bit to that. The following video was shot at like 2 a.m., so forgive me if I'm softly spoken in it, but I do think you'll find it enjoyable anyway. I hope you do, and if so, please do subscribe. It's very encouraging. But I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. Let's dive in. I am absolutely loving this feature in Notion called Conditional Coloring, and it works so well for a gallery view. There might be other ways to do it, but I wanted to show you how I'm using it since I think it could actually be really, really useful. So one of the things that I'm doing is building an income tracker. Now I've tried a ton of different templates, but I saw one by a friend of mine that was in Excel. I don't really use Excel. I very rarely use Google Sheets. So I wanted to see, could I replicate a version that I would actually use inside Notion? And I think I have done it. Without showing you too much, since this has my actual client data on here, I want to show you how this conditional coloring works. What I've got here are essentially different income streams. You can see the colors right now. So I've got digital products, book sales, sponsor and affiliates, retainer clients, monthly clients, custom projects, advisory work, digital foundation, which is like a package that we offer. And what I want to do is analyze what categories or what income streams are pretty significant in the business, what is doing okay, and what might need some work or to be revisited and dropped at some point, or strategically integrated into something else. And so to do that conditional coloring, just to get a really quick high-level view of what's working in the business and what's not, I've got this particular thing. You go over here to this fun icon, you go over to conditional color, and you can see I've already got some in place here. So I'm saying if this is making over $10,000 in the business, make that card background green. If it's making over $5,000, make it yellow. Now the great thing is it will sort of layer the conditions, so it knows that this sort of goes first, this goes second. So if something is between 5,000 and 10,000, it will defer to the 10,000 one in that case. So I'm going to add two more conditional filters. One's going to be for 1,000 to 5,000 range, and then another one for under 1,000. So go to this total, and instead of equals, we're going to do greater than or equal to symbol. And I'm going to put 1,000. Now because I've done this, it's going to keep in mind this other condition here. So I'm going to say blue. This is basically telling myself high level that this is kind of a mid-range project, good to have on the books. Now I'm going to add another condition. And in this case, you can see what I did there is I actually selected the total. These are all the columns. And then the total is a column as well. So in this final one, what I'm going to say is if it's less than or equal to 1,000, I want you to make this red. Give me a heads up so you can see pretty clearly that in my case, I could use some work on the product side. We're really great at services and really good at advisory work. Products could definitely use some work. And actually, I feel like red is quite aggressive. And so let's see, can I do an orange? I kind of think an orange works nicer because red, I feel like it's just like an X and it's like, don't do the thing. But I like the thing. There's a lot more room in the year to focus on these things and to really give it a test. So I'm actually going to use an orange background for this. So that is how you do conditional coloring in Notion. I just think it's a really cool way to do it. And if you dig this, do let me know. You can see that this is just a gallery view. So I've got the table view here with the data, income streams here. In this expense tracker, I've got the income, the columns here, and honestly, big shout out to Matt Forrest, who is a fellow lab mate in Jay Klaus's Creator Science Lab, who did this. So we do these sort of like monthly retros, and he did this in a Google Sheet. And I looked at it and I sort of recreated it in Google, and then I was like, oh, I like this, but I don't think I'll ever use it. Like most of my stuff is in Notion. And so wanted to figure out how to recreate it, but of course we didn't have the wonderful color schemes that one might have. So the gallery view takes care of that and gives you a nice high-level overview of sort of where things sit. And what I've done is if I click inside this, it will, I should probably hide this view, but I'll have the notes of like what is actually in here. So for example, sponsor and affiliate, I'm an affiliate and a partner with Kit, with Squarespace, with Circle, with a bunch of these really amazing companies. And so I'll just list them out here. And same with things that are like packages. So for example, the digital foundation, I'm going to list out the clients here. What you could do is hide a value if it's empty so that it's not taking up all the space. But that is neither here nor there. I hope you found this helpful. I think it's pretty freaking cool. And if you dig things like this, please do subscribe. It makes a big difference. And I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much.